Namaste and good evening, everybody. Welcome to this short webinar about our MSc Life Sciences Ayurveda Biology program. We're holding this webinar today so that interested students and perhaps parents can get a good idea about who we are, what this course is about, and some logistic information. Plus, joining me today are the faculty from this program. So it gives an opportunity to students and parents to ask their questions directly to faculty. My name is Megha, and I am an associate professor at the Center for Ayurveda Biology and Holistic Nutrition. Many of you would have looked at this title, MSc Life Sciences Ayurveda Biology, and wondered what sort of mixture this is, because it combines two words from very different spheres of education in our country. If you think of life sciences, you'll think of molecular biology, genetics, next generation sequencing, and now a lot RT-PCR thanks to COVID-19. Whereas when you think of Ayurveda, you might think of plants, of ancient sages writing treatises on how to repair the body and heal the body. But we think that these definitions of both life science as well as Ayurveda biology are extremely limiting. Life sciences is the study of all life forms, everything that exists in nature. Similarly, Ayurveda, Ayur is life. Many times it is construed as the science of lifespan, but instead we think Ayurveda means Veda or knowledge of life. So at its very core, both life sciences and Ayurveda are extremely similar. And both these words implicitly are a study of change of biology or changes that occur in biology and nature around us. Now, despite having the same goal, which is to study life in all its glory, the principles and concepts in both of these streams, as we know today in India, are quite different. And so we bring this course together in order to present an amalgamation of two very different philosophies and understand how these philosophies can be applied in the contemporary world for medicine as well as for well-being. I'm going to take the examples of few of our faculty to explain this concept. The first is Dr. Ashwini Godbole, a colleague of mine, who studies the effect of Brahmi. Many of you who are from the Ayurveda world will immediately recognize Brahmi for its nootropic or cognitive enhancing effects. And those of you who are joining us from BSc Plant Biology would probably recognize this as Bacopa monnieri. And those of you who are not familiar with this term at all will probably know from traditional knowledge. Brahmi has always been administered as a substance to improve memory and intelligence. So Dr. Godbole is asking this question both in humans as well as in a model animal called C. elegans. And she's trying to combine these technologies to understand the mode of action. How does Brahmi work? What does the extract do? Why should we give it with honey or with ghee? At the level of C. elegans. Whereas with human population studies, she's trying to understand, will the intervention of Brahmi help people who have mild cognitive defects? Moving on, Dr. Nair, who's here with us today. Although trained as a botanist, Dr. Nair today heads the Center for Ethno-Veterinary Practice. What this simply means is that they're looking at how traditional practices derived from plants can help those in the dairy industry. And the aim here is not application of traditional knowledge alone, but to combat antimicrobial resistance. Because dairy today takes a lot of antibiotics, which is added to the cow, to its feed, which comes to the milk, which we are all consuming. And to stop that chain of transmission, his team has come up with a product which they educate farmers and other people on the field about, so that they can sustainably manage many bacterial diseases in dairy to break this antimicrobial resistance atmosphere that has been created. Moving on, Dr. Noori, as we call her, she heads one of the most unique herbariums in our country, which has catalogued several medicinal plants across India. And she is deeply involved in their identification and, most importantly, conservation. Because with climate change, human interventions, forests that are getting devolved into human settlements, we are losing much of this space and knowledge about traditional plants. Last, I would like to talk about my colleague, Dr. Subramanya Kumar, who is an Ayurveda Vaidya with a PhD in Dravya Guna. And Dravya Guna from a pharmacological point of view and a phytochemical point of view. And he perhaps represents the epitome of what we expect in this program of blending Ayurveda knowledge with contemporary technology in order to further human health. We have kept this program very broad on purpose, because we want to attract people who have not just immersion in Ayurveda or yoga or Unani, but also those who come from professional backgrounds such as B.Pharm, veterinary sciences, and B.Tech. Of course, we also invite those of you who have completed natural science degrees, BSc and BS. We've been receiving queries from some individuals who have completed physics, chemistry, and maths in their BSc degree, and we welcome such combinations as well. And the reason for welcoming students from diverse areas is essentially to increase the student peer learning. We strongly believe, we are, of course, the University of Transdisciplinary Health Sciences. And so therefore, we strongly believe that disciplinary boundaries are those imposed by academia. And these boundaries need to be broken so that we have a better understanding of the biology around us, nature around us, in many different forms. And that is why we think it is very important to have a classroom full of people who come from very different backgrounds. And I'd like to point out here that this particular combination of inviting people from, say, an Ayurveda or traditional medicine background, as well as from life sciences, is quite unusual in India. So we think that you will get a lot just by talking to your classmates. We are looking for students who are knowledge seekers. And these could be knowledge seekers who wish to have an opportunity in research. And research can take many different forms. It could be an Ayurveda Vaidya looking for clinical research. It could be a botanist who wants to get into drug discovery. It could be a food and nutrition dietitian who's looking to expand their skill set and move both into research and product making, along with Ayurveda and nutrition guidelines. It could be somebody who comes from conservation background who's interested in understanding how local participation can improve conservation of medicinal plants. Those of you who are looking for jobs immediately in the industry would have a very unique skill set. We are not aware right now of any other program that offers you the opportunity to blend both traditional knowledge and contemporary science. So we've designed the course so that you do a lot of lab work, and we will give you a lot of theory in traditional knowledge as well. And some of you might be interested in activism, on working at the field, on the ground, with NGOs, think tanks, or in the area of policy. We think we have a curriculum that will satisfy a broad swath of information for careers in any of these three domains. The program also will give you a base to become an innovator. And we use the word innovation not just to make new products, but to innovate at the level of clinical practice. to innovate at the level of new biology, of looking at plants and animals from a very different perspective. And of course, finally, for human medicine to move forward. I'll just talk about a couple of unique things about this course. If you've already visited our website, you will know that we have a curriculum that combines Ayurveda fundamentals and pharmacology and philosophy, along with subjects that are normally offered in life sciences, such as biochemistry, molecular biology, cell biology, and so forth. We've designed the curriculum in such a way that anybody who takes this can appear for the CSIR UGC NET exam, which is the starting point for those of you who are interested in doing a PhD. The course has been designed so that no matter what background you come from, within the first year, you will all reach the same level in terms of theoretical and practical knowledge. Each course, we have tried to build a lab component or a field component, because TDU believes that having hands-on experience is very important. And here I will address a question that many people ask us: is this course online? And the answer is no. We have not kept this course online because we think that doing things hands-on, being in a clinic, walking in the forest, identifying leaves and fruits in their natural environment is a very important aspect of learning. And we cannot do that in an online mode. So this will be disappointing to a number of you who are practicing medicine or would like to do this online, or are doing contemporary biology but want to learn more about Ayurveda. This course is a dedicated 2-year online course, offline course, face-to-face. There might be an online component because of pandemic reasons, but we think that having practicals is very, very important. And so we will continue with this model for at least a few years, and we'll test it out. Another unique thing about our course is a 1-year dissertation project. Normally, MSc degrees, in 2-year MSc degrees have a 6-month dissertation project. We have very consciously made it 1 year so that you have the opportunity to go somewhere else if you would like, or within our own university, work with our various partners, who I will also talk about, to develop a project and to have some sort of immersion in whatever it is that you have picked. You can go anywhere in the world for your dissertation project. Our only criteria is that a faculty from TDU will be a will be a co-guide on your project. TDU has several partnerships, both in Bangalore and outside Bangalore, which will help us offer you a vast level of network to do your work. This includes places like ATRI, known for conservation, as well as Dakshin Foundation, life science-based research, which happens at IBAB, NCBS, policy, think tank, grassroots level programs that happened at NIAS, and transdisciplinary work. So looking at information through other visual forms, such as Attakalari or design and art, with our partners such as Shrishti and Suchitra Cinema. So we have a vast network of partner institutions, and we will leverage these partner institutions to come up with the students on a creative dissertation project. Couple of practical information about the course. There are 4 semesters. Those of you who have a professional degree, a BVSc or a BPharm or a BAMS, can exit after the first year with a diploma in Ayurveda biology. For anybody with a regular BSc degree, you will have to complete the 2-year course in order to get a master's program, an MSc degree. The first 2 semesters are very heavy. We'll have a lot of theory and practicals, and you'll be very busy from 9 to 5. The other 2 semesters, there's a little bit of coursework in semester 3, which will help you prepare yourself for your dissertation project. And semester 4 will be completely for dissertation project. So I have basically covered in the first half of first 3/4 of this presentation, why this is a unique course and what it is composed of. I will spend a few minutes now talking about TDU, our campus, and the course, lastly, the course fees. We are based in Bangalore, and we are in North Bangalore. For those of you who are familiar with the city, we are close to the airport. We have been granted a 2F status by UGC in 2020, although we were a UGC approved university way back in 2013. We have our origins in an NGO called the Foundation for the Revitalization of Local Health Traditions, FRLHT, which has a name for itself in conservation circles. This is our lovely campus. We have more than 1,400 medicinal plants, and Dr. Nair, who's going to be taking some courses as well, will be loves to take students around on our campus because, like we said, we believe in immersive learning. So when you learn about plants and conservation, you're going to be taking a walk on our campus. We have all the facilities that are required to run this MSc program: dedicated teaching block, library, classrooms, and laboratories. Lastly, about how to apply for this program, visit our website, sign up with your email ID to receive an application form. You have to pay an application fee of 500 rupees. We are asking for 3 statements on the form. The questions are on our website. The questions are very simple, but they reveal to us what students are thinking about why you want to join the program, a potential research project that you might want to do. We will not hold you to the project, but we'd like to know how you're thinking. And just a teaser question. You know, many edible tubers, such as that for turmeric, are harvested in early winter. Why do you think that is? So have answers to these questions ready before you submit your application form. Once it comes to our office, we do a preliminary screening for eligibility in terms of the kind of marks that you've got so far and whether you have the right background for this course. And you will be invited for an interview. The interview will be online, and based on the interview, we will announce a list of shortlisted applicants. We have already completed the first round of our process, and we have 30 seats to offer, out of which 13 have already been offered. The total fee for this program is 2.25 lakhs, and that's just the course fee. It can be, the payment is distributed across semesters, so it works out to around 55,000 rupees per semester. We have a hostel on site, and depending on whether you take single or double accommodation, charges will accrue. So I will quickly end on this slide about the future opportunities after you complete this course, the entire 2-year course. You should easily be able to do a PhD in India or abroad. You can work in R&D, research and development in industry. So there are many industries now that are looking at traditional knowledge, not just for drug formulation, but also for wellness, the different types of foods that you eat, or the kind of sort of how to integrate health and wellness programs, right? And a lot of startups are looking at how you can look at digital information. So if I'm wearing a Fitbit device and I have information on when you sleep, when you get up, the kind of food that you eat, etc. So they are looking for professionals who understand a little bit of holistic wellness, who have a little bit of background. So this particular program, we have designed computational biology courses so that you already have a little bit of immersion before you go out into the world to apply, say, machine learning or AI into your programs. Finally, people can also opt to teach in higher education or work in the social science sector after this particular program. So you can contact us on our email ID, and we will now end this seminar and take questions from our participants. Last, I just want to let you all know that we have also launched a program in conservation, the MSc in Conservation Practice, and you can check that out on our website. So we will stop at future opportunities, and I will stop recording so that students can ask questions.